All for play for still?
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I had an issue with my AirPods, so I have to go back to my Chris Kamara style headphones to try and see if I can hear myself, and I can't very much so hear myself, so I'm going to turn it down. It's bad enough that you guys have to listen to me, never mind me having to listen to myself as well. Flying solo tonight. The wonderful Paddy is watching Shelburne in their final game of the season, their final home game of the season today. So I think it's only fair that we give him a day off every now and then. But we do have Luton on the horizon, and after last night's brilliant performance, I've watched it back again today. The game against AZ Alkmaar. I've read a lot of the words that have come out. Obviously, you and I, Emery, had a lot to say afterwards, who's thrilled with the performance, so on and so forth, but also the feedback that has come from the AZ players. Oliver Wolf said that it was one of the best performances he'd ever seen against him or against the team, with regards to how Villa broke down their press and how they got the ball in and around into the areas that they didn't want it in, that AZ didn't want it in. And that was something we spoke about in the podcast last night, that how Villa were over time have been kind of manipulating the way this team plays and the structure of this team, so that they can go wide when they need to, and they can go through the middle when they need to go through the middle. And Mother Wolf said exactly that last night. So that was really encouraging to hear that as well, from somebody who is playing in a team at a really, really decent standard, at a really, really decent league, and a team that are expected to go far within that competition within Europe. But we won't dwell too much on the game last night, and we will look forward to this game versus Luton at the weekend. We'll talk a small bit about Luton. First of all, actually, if you guys haven't watched the Luton Town Supporters Trust YouTube video about them discussing Aston Villa and Luton, go watch it. It's absolutely brilliant. They're really nice guys. They really speak really respectfully about Aston Villa. And it's just a really nice, wholesome watch. You know, the guys are really great in it. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it, because it's really great. I watched it today, and they made some superb points about Villa, and they made some superb points about Luton. And look, they know what the situation is with Luton. Luton coming up, obviously, getting promoted. They've had some games where they felt they should have got more out of games. They've had some games where they felt that they've should have got less out of games. And they're living the dream, being in the Premier League for a club of their size. And that's not being derogatory towards Luton, but they are very much so the team that have the most catching up to do within the Premier League at the moment. And saying that, they've spent pretty well in the off season. They haven't blown a massive budget, and they've brought in players that are young, hungry, and if they were to go back down again, will be massive pluses to them within the championship, but can also contribute within the Premier League as well. The likes of Chidozie Egbeni, that they brought from Rotherham. Obviously, I know him being an Irishman. The fact that they brought him, he's now playing in the Premier League. Really, really pacey winger. Gave Tsimikas of Greece and Liverpool fits when Ireland played Greece recently, albeit the Greece won. Ogbene skinned him a couple of times going down that wing. So he's somebody who's really learning the game and growing into it, and delighted to see him playing Premier League football there. Obviously, their striker as well, Morris, is somebody that they really rely on. They love him there. And Adebayo as well. Their other forward player as well, is somebody the Villa are going to have to take an awful lot of care with. So obviously there's a couple of familiar faces that are going to be coming back to Villa Park. Obviously, Marvelous Nakamba and Ross Barkley are going to be coming back to Villa Park, and also the manager himself, Rob Edwards, is going to be coming back. And actually, I think I might have actually just seen that. It was Delboy. It was the very first comment. Delboy says the Villa connection with Rob Edwards, Marvelous, and Ross Barkley here as well, coming back to Villa Park. Yeah, I'm sure that they've got, well, some of them have happier memories than others, I would imagine, at Villa Park. But it's yeah, it's definitely it's one that Villa once again, and I think with every single team that Villa are going to play with, whether it be the Premier League or whether it be the Conference League, it's a case that Aston Villa can't rest on their laurels in any game. I don't know what happened there. It's coming up to Halloween, and there does seem to be some sort of gremlins or some sort of ghosts or whatever inside in the system today. Because for whatever reason, I could not hear myself back, and I could not hear anything that was going on in the stream earlier on. That's why we were late. Um, so I suppose when we're looking at this team, I'll take off the voice comment there. When we're looking at this team, I think the team that Aston Villa are gonna put out at the weekend, I think you're going to see the familiar names in there. I think I'll start that again because I have no idea why I just got knocked off there once more. And if anybody's listening back to this on audio and not on YouTube, I'm getting kicked off for whatever reason here the whole time. There's somebody that doesn't like me. It's kicking me off here. I wonder is Paddy after logging in his phone or something like that and keeps on removing me with the administrator password or whatever. I don't know what the case is. Maybe it is. Stop it, Paddy, if you are doing it because yeah, you're breaking my flow, man. You're breaking my flow. But with regards to the team, I think that Aston Villa are going to put out. Look, I suppose realistically speaking, the centre half partnership, Konza and Torres, they're going to come back in. I would imagine that you're going to see Dina and Cash are still going to be there too. Like it's not going to be massively changed from the format or the team that we've been putting out in the Premier League games. I think Bailey probably starts over Zaniolo, just based on his performances, or maybe even Tielemans gets a start. In that position, maybe Diaby goes out to the left wing, McGinn goes to the right wing, and maybe Tielemans starts up front with Watkins because that performance last night is huge food for thought for this I suppose this whole setup going forward. Tielemans was bloody excellent. I gave my man a match to Leon Bailey last night, and I think Paddy gave it Tielemans. And it was really a toss up between the two. But like the more you look back at the Tielemans performance last night, the pressing he did up top, specifically on their centre halves, and just every time he got the ball, he didn't really waste it. And I was really really enthused by that. So maybe he gets his start on Sunday as well. I don't expect Emery to make too many changes to too many things. For Jesus' sake, what's knocking me off? Apologies again, everybody. This is really, really. I feel like starting the stream all over again because there's obviously something going on somewhere that keeps on knocking me off. So I do apologize, but I don't think Unai Emery is going to make many changes to what he knows he's tried and tested is because, albeit, look, we're playing against Luton, who we're going to be favourites against, which I think is understandable given the run of form we're on. But we can't take any team for granted. We certainly can't. And to get to 3 points at Luton at the weekend, where we are in the Premier League, would be huge. Obviously, the next 3 or 4 games that we have coming up here are games that we would be earmarking to get points from. Definitely the next 3 games, I think we could probably go into them and look at it and say, we're going to get 9 points from these 3 games. Or sorry, we should be looking to get 9 points from these 3 games. Obviously, setting up coherently, making sure that we're giving every team their due respect and not taking any team lightly. And if we were, that gives us a massive platform going into what is an exceptionally difficult month of December that we have, with regards to some of the teams that we have to play in the short succession we have to play them in. Also, littering in games in Europe as well. December is going to be a really, really, really tough month for Aston Villa. So we need to get something out of these games. So I think Unai Emery is going to go with his tried and tested teams. Sure. I know I'm yawning in the top of this. Is the worst stream I think I've ever done. This might be the worst stream I've ever done. Although there's a lot of competition for that one as well. So looking, I suppose realistically, we're not going to have Jacob Ramsey back. We're not going to have Alex Moreno back. I would imagine it's going to be another couple of weeks out for those 2 guys. I think the strangest one for me is, look, we We've heard nothing on Moreno's injury. We just heard that he had a small setback. We've heard nothing on it since. Anybody be able to enlighten me in the comments there with regards to Moreno's injury? It hasn't really come up. It's been an unasked question as far as I'm concerned. Jacob Ramsey question got asked quite a lot after he went off injured, and it was it the same metatarsal? It looks like it's some sort of metatarsal or whatever on the foot, or the similar injury, whatever the injury was previously. So we have had some information on that, but we've had nothing on Alex Moreno. It would be nice to get some information on that in the coming days or the coming weeks, anyway. I suppose before we get into this tough run in the month of December. So that would be nice. But apart from that, we don't have any other injury concerns, which is really good because having the bench that we had against AZ, I think was a huge plus for us. Being able to bring on the players that we did was a huge plus for us, and we're going to need those in the coming weeks as well. On the other side of the coin, with Luton, they are going to have a couple of players out injured. Sambi Lokonga, the Arsenal loanee, that's at Luton. I think he's on loan from Arsenal anyway. There was a lot thought of him at Arsenal, or when he signed for Arsenal from Anderlecht, and he was very, very highly thought of from a Dutch or from a Belgian point of view. Hasn't really set the world alight in the Premier League at all. He's going to be injured. I was looking forward to him going to Luton to get some game time there, but he's been out for a period of time now. And it doesn't look like he's got any return date as well. So you're probably going to see Nakamba and Mpanzu in there as well. And Mpanzu, a fantastic story within that team, one of those real English pyramid stories there as well. Their backline is going to be something I think we can certainly get at. We don't want to get involved in a game of head tennis with this backline, but I think obviously, with the two centre halves they have in there, Mengi and Lockyer, two different types of centre halves. But I think Ollie Watkins is going to be relishing going up against either of the two of those, because I think the styles suit from that point of view. Obviously, I think Diaby, if he's playing up top beside Watkins, is going to be a huge asset in and around there, using his legs, running players, running the likes of Doughty on the left-hand side. And then likewise, whoever, if it is Bailey or if it is Zaniolo on the left-hand side, running at Kabore, who's a nice player, a nice full-back there. I like him, that right back for Luton. But running at him, keeping him back, pinning him back there, and making sure that Ogbene has to come back to help him is going to be vital for us, I think. And most teams that are playing against Luton will need to do that with their fullbacks too. In goals, then they've got Kaminski in goals. If I was Aston Villa, it would be peppering shots at him early. It's not to say that he's a bad goalkeeper, but what we've seen with Aston Villa recently is our chase and the ability for Ollie Watkins to get in on top of the goalkeeper. You might not always put him in the back of the net, but when they drop to him, he's always seems to be in the right place at the right time. So that kind of and that was even the case when he wasn't scoring. He went through that 5-game barren streak at the start of the season. He seemed to be getting into the right place, but the ball wasn't dropping his way. Let's make sure that we get those opportunities. Let's make sure that no matter who we're playing, if we pepper shots at goal, that we're following them in, and I think this can happen in this game today. And I've got a sneaking suspicion I've had an apparition whereby we get something like that, whereby there is a shot like Watkins scored against AZ. There's a shot, it's saved, it comes out to him, and he gets a little tap in, or bundles one in over the line. And I think that's absolutely fine. That's a good striker's instinct to be able to be in the right place at the right time, and he's beginning to show that more and more this season. And he's in good scoring form at the moment, so why not continue it? So from the point of view of how we need to set up against Luton, I think we go with the 4 at the back. I don't think we see the 3 at the back or the 5 at the back, whichever way you want to call it, at the weekend. I think our midfield is going to need to be really structured and sturdy, though, because it will be a packed midfield there. They will bring Adebayo and Ogbene in narrow when they're out of possession, and then spring them wide when they are in possession. Adebayo will probably play further up top anyway. I would say if they get any concerted period of where they've got if they get any concerted period where they've got a lot of possession on the ball, I think that Adebayo will go up alongside Morris for a period of time. And then that to me really means that their midfield 4 then we'll become pretty compact in that instance. But we should be able to win this midfield battle. Or sorry, should I say, if we are to win this game, we will, and if we are to win it easily or control this game, we're going to need control midfield, because there's going to be lots of bodies in there, for certain, and not unlike what we did against West Ham, and certainly not unlike what we did against AZ. Being able to move those bodies around. This team is getting really good at it. If you remember back to what I spoke about with Emi Martinez last night, when I said that Emi Martinez, holding the ball at his feet for what was it? Was it 45 seconds or something like that? And being able to get a look at the formational setup of the team when they're out of possession, that isn't going to happen with this Luton team. So there's going to have to be a lot of work done, and I trust that has been a lot of work done on studying the setup of this team, this Luton team. A lot of games that they played in the Championship last season, and there's a decent sample size of them in the Premier League this season as well. So identifying, I suppose, pockets of space and areas, making sure that Luis can dictate the play towards those areas, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm beginning to probably lean towards Bailey maybe starting over Zaniolo on this one. But it would be interesting to see if Bailey starts on the left, because the last time he started outside of yesterday, last time he started, he did play, or sorry, the last uh, game that he played prior to yesterday, he was moved over to the left hand side and he played really, really well there. Myself and Paddy were very complimentary of him in that. We felt he played really well. He attacked on that side of the field, and I thought that he was, that he showed that he certainly should be considered to play from the left hand side. I think everyone always felt that he should have been considered to play from the left hand side as it was, but Unai Emery kept on playing him up top or playing him on the right hand side, and that's absolutely fine too. But I think we might see him on that left hand side, and potentially rotating in and out with Diaby. And maybe even switching over to the right with McGinn switching over to the left as well. So the permutations are endless if you do put him over there. Uh, uh, Zaniolo, if Zaniolo starts, he kind of needs to play on that left hand side. Jesse could move, he could interlink, or he could change with Diaby going up top beside Watkins. But we've really seen Zaniolo hug that touchline and be that wide player out there. So not saying that he won't start, Zaniolo. Obviously, he's had a bit of news today where he's had to appear in Turin in front of the officials with regards to telling his side of the story with regards to the betting fiasco that's been going on in Italian football recently. So Zaniolo is, he's had that on his plate today. Whether he's sat down for the weekend or starts from the bench, I think is probably what will happen. And we may see him from the bench at the weekend, and Bailey starting there, or as I said, Tielemans coming into the team as well. So it's going to be a super interesting, I suppose, team sheet when it is announced. But it may not have massive changes. But I think the interesting part would be to see if the likes of Tielemans or Bailey have, I suppose, broken through from their performances last night, and if they are going to be trusted to start the game in the Premier League against Luton at the weekend. Because, as I said, Unai Emery works towards a system. Obviously, we see that. We see he's a system. He has a very good system that we work with here in Aston Villa, and there's also a small bit of autonomy in the field. The likes of Luis has creative freedom inside there. Diaby certainly has creative freedom in there. And I think there's players that have been earmarked like that. But also, what we've seen from Unai Emery is that there has been a meritocracy that has followed his team selections. It's very rarely that the informed players will be sat down just because he has favourites or anything like that. It's never been that case. The rotation, I suppose, last year between Digne and Moreno was more horses for courses situation that we saw. Also, Bailey coming in would be a horses for courses situation last year when we were playing at home. When we were playing at home or away to stretch teams because we didn't have pace in the team. But they would have been in there for his system, for to satisfy his system. But he does also work on the meritocracy situation too, as we've seen recently with John McGinn being taken off. When he wasn't playing well, and when things weren't really going his way, he was taken off. So Unai Emery could spring one or two of those changes if these players continue to keep on playing well in European games and obviously in training as well. Going to come to some of your comments here. Where are we? So Richard has said Luton play well. Luton play well away from home. They absolutely do. That's been one of their strengths. Very well structured team. Very well structured. Rob Edwards has been a really good manager for them. They've he's very tactically adept, and he's well able to set up a team. Like on paper, they're going to be the weakest team in the league. And this isn't being derogatory towards Luton. It certainly isn't. It's just kind of calling it the way it is because they haven't had a they haven't had like they've had a miraculous run through the leagues really over the last couple of seasons, and they haven't had the stocking up of high profile players or even semi profile players or whatever. And now they've come to the Premier League. If they were to stay up, they could be it would be absolutely massive for the club. Obviously, if they would stay up, and I think they absolutely can stay up the way some teams are playing the Premier League this season. But they're so well drilled, they're so well marshaled by their manager in there as well that the underestimation is something that we certainly cannot see. And playing away from home, there will be a tricky prospect because they do know how to defend. Lockyer at the back, and as I say, Mengi, two decent, very very decent players. I still think that they're a good matchup for Ollie Watkins, and time will tell. I suppose we will see on Sunday as well. But once again, they can get the job done at the centre half position if needed. So we will need to bring our A game from that point of view for sure. Where else are we? So Richard asks, would I start Bailey over Zaniolo? Yes, I would. I would start Bailey over Zaniolo in this game. The reason I paused was because I was going to say I might start Tielemans over both of them, but I think pace is going to be. I think having the pace of Diaby and Bailey could be scary. And I think if we are playing at home and an early goal will go a long way in a game like this, having that pace and having Bailey's pace and having Diaby's pace would be super beneficial to us. But then again, having Tielemans up there or Tielemans in the team whereby he's got great range of passing, that could be beneficial too. But that might be better to come in to try and see out a game or to try and maybe if it's 0-0 in the second half to unlock a defense if pace and if the battering ram approach isn't working. So I think based on what I've just said there, I think I would start Bailey and then see what happens from there. I think for sure. Where else are we? I'm going to scroll down a small bit here. So Stu Hector says the Luton fans are saying they'll play 5-3-2. I haven't ruled it out for sure. And it's quite possible that they will play a 5-3-2. I'm just not 100% sure who that other centre half would be for them. I'm just not 100% sure who that would be, to be honest with you. But they have the like against Nottingham Forest, they played a 4-4-2. Against Spurs, they went with four at the back as well. So I'm not 100% sure who that other midfielder would be. If they were to, or sorry, what that other centre half would be if they were to bring one in. Maybe it's Bell. Maybe they play Bell, Lockyer, or Mengi. Maybe they play something like that with Doughty and Kabore as kind of wing backs. That's quite possible. That's quite possible that they might do that. But where do they lose in that instance? Then do they maybe start Adebayo up top on his own and drop Morris? That to me would be. It wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility. It would be surprised that they maybe play Adebayo and Agbene tight in behind Morris up top. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and it goes back to what I was saying there about their manager, about Rob Edwards. The fact that he's very good tactically, and he drills his team very well, and the work he does on the field during the week is always beneficial for them, and they'll come up short in games this season just from a quality level, but they will never be found wanting from the level of application and of effort, for sure. And now the more that you say it, I suppose, to the five at the back or the three at the back, whatever, with maybe with Bell, Lockyer, and Mengi might be something that we might see at the weekend. Yeah, if memory serves me right, I think they might have played that against Burnley. I think they might have played that against Burnley. I should have checked that before I came on. I think they might have. But as you say, yeah, we're definitely going to need to be at the races with regards to that as well. Where else are we? Dial says confidence is growing that we don't make any slip ups. I totally respect what Luton have done, but Unai has convincingly changed our outlook. Another convincing win to go 12 home wins, 5-0 Villa. You're going, I'm nowhere near ready to make a prediction yet, and certainly not 5-0 in this game. But you know, it is heartening to see what our record is: 39 goals in 15 games, 11 home games unbeaten. They're great stuff. It's great to see that. As they said, as they said on the Luton podcast that I mentioned earlier on at the start, which was just brilliant. If you guys are just joining now, go and watch that podcast. It was excellent. I was trying to get somebody to come on today, another Aston Villa fan. I was trying to get a couple of people from Villa, like from other podcasts, to come on, and be honest with you, time got the better of me, and I didn't get to ask who the people that I really wanted to ask, I suppose, really. But I also wanted to ask one of those guys to see if they could come on. But you know, sending someone a message at 8:45 asking them if they can do a podcast at 9:30 can be sometimes, well, at 9:37 or whatever time I started. Ain't the best. But if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. And I contemplated playing snippets from it because, as I said, it was really well put together. It was a really, really nice conversation that the three guys had, and it was a real honest conversation. So go back and watch that too, if you have not done that already. Yeah, John says if Bell is fit for this game, yeah, and that's why I was reluctant, I suppose, to fully commit to the three at the back, because for Luton, that is, because if I'm, yeah, I think Bell may be out. Like looking, I've just loaded up who scored here now, as I was saying, to find out if they played that three at the back against Burnley, and they say that Amari Bell is out as well for the weekend. So maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. I don't know what the situation is, but if he is, I'm certainly not sure who they would go with that third centre half in that situation. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see for sure. Where else are we? Bell is injured. Yeah, a couple of people saying Bell is injured. Yeah, Richard Edwards, you're dead right. The Villa on tour vlog from the trip to AZ is brilliant. It's definitely one of our top 5 vlogs they've ever done. So go and watch that as well if you haven't watched it already. Where are we? And CC says, I know Emery respects Luton. Our players need to make sure it's not lip service. Interesting test for us, as we cannot be casual, as sometimes can creep in. We need to bring the intensity and energy. So yeah, it's definitely, absolutely 100%. We need to bring the intensity and energy. There's no easy games in the Premier League. There's certainly no easy games against promoted teams. And you know, I'm at pains to continually say it as well, that the amount of respect I have for Luton as a football club and what they're doing, and the fact that they didn't go away and, you know, get lured by maybe bringing in the likes are doing. And I've respect for Forest as well. Don't get me wrong, but you know, for a club like Luton, they see the wood from the trees, and the fact that Kenilworth Road needs to be done up, needs to be brought to a certain standard, and I presume a lot of money is going to be pumped in there as well. They've brought in functional players, and they didn't fall into the trap of maybe bringing in a Jesse Lingard or something along those lines to just maybe try and have that little bit of sparkle dust. Yes, they brought in Ross Barkley, but that was like Ross Barkley's star waned 4 years ago. from that point of view. They've brought in real functional players, and I think that has to be really respected, specifically when you've got a manager who's a tactical based manager and is somebody who backs himself to put the team together, because that's what he did last year to get people, or to get the team promoted. So fair play to Luton from that point of view, for sure. And John Doe UK says we only have Lockyer and Mengi fit or left. So yeah, so I think it's going to be 4 at the back. So based on that, and thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for popping in. Right. I think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. Because reason being is I've done a half an hour. Apologies for the start of it. The start was a bit choppy, as I say. I kept on getting knocked off the stream for whatever reason. I will have that rectified before I go to bed tonight, because that was a real annoyance from me. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. As I flew solo in this podcast tonight. But we will be back on Sunday for a team sheet tantrum and a post match. As I said, I'm unlikely to make the team sheet tantrum, whatever about the post match, but Paddy will deputise, and he will have somebody, he will have a Robin to his Batman at the weekend as well. So please join us for that, if you would. And we look forward to this game. We look forward to seeing this game. We look forward to seeing what the team is and the result as well. So yeah, thanks so much. Thanks a million for watching tonight, and thanks a million for everything you do for the podcast. I'm going to go and get some sleep before I yawn again on this. This has been a horrible podcast for me, because nothing has gone right for me. But anyway, we live and we learn, and we move on to the next one. But we'll see you again over the weekend on Sunday for the team sheet tantrum. And in the meantime, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.